I'm Owen, I'm a bike nerd, and I'm an ex-World Cup mechanic. So what tools would I put in your home workshop? Bike tools are awesome. Why, you ask? Well, you can fix your bike, you can tune your bike to your specific trails, and maybe this is a personal one, but I really enjoy just fixing bikes, almost as much as I do riding bikes. Now, before we dive too deeply into our toolbox, I've just got a little favour to ask, and that's if you could like and subscribe to this video and to the channel. It really helps us make more great content like this. Right, let's dive in. Welcome to Tool Club. The first rule of Tool Club is, well, you need to talk about Tool Club. The second rule of Tool Club is, you should talk about Tool Club. Talk about it a lot. You don't have to have a wild selection to get started by working on your mountain bike, but just enough to get that obsession of tools started. Here's the essential selection to keep your modern mountain bike running very smoothly and to optimise the bike fit of it. A floor pump. We're riding on air on our modern mountain bikes, so inflating to the right pressures and optimising those pressures, well, it's an essential. Tyre levers. These are really handy. Okay, some tyres, especially in the olden days, were really easy to get off, and you could use a technique where you just use really strong thumbs, but lots of modern mountain bike tyres are very burly, so tyre levers are handy. You'll also need a full set of Allen keys. So most sets start with a 2, 2.5, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, no 7, but also an 8mm. Sometimes you need a 10mm. But yeah, get a set of Allen keys, they're very useful. Sometimes called hex keys too. With many modern drivetrains, you'll also need a T25 Torx. It's very specific, you need to get the right one. T25 is most common, but there's lots of others out there too, so you probably need to check your bike. But T25 is on a lot of SRAM and Magura. Those hex and Torx keys will be used all over your bike, from pedals to crank arms and pedal pins into pins and tightening up stems. Now there's another essential bit of kit, and it's not really a tool, but for your home mechanic, I think it's brilliant. And that's because I wrote some of the techie bits on it, so I'm a bit biased, but the Essential Mountain Bike Maintenance book is really useful, and it's got loads of teardowns on how to fix stuff and links to videos too. Depending on which disc brake rotor standard you've got, there's pretty much 2 out there. I'm sure there's a few more out there, but essentially it splits down into a 6-bolt pattern where you'll need either a 4mm hex wrench or a T25 Torx key. Now, the other standard, which is called center lock, often uses a 16-notch standard similar to this. It's not dissimilar to some bottom bracket standards. So if you've got one of those, you'll need one of these, and often they're external, but you can also get internal ones. So you'll have to just check and buy the one that suits your bike. One task that you will need to do, and you'll need a tool for, is setting torque. You can get these really good ratcheting torque wrenches like this to set to really high newton meters, but for lots of tasks that you might be doing, actually a little smaller one like this might be useful. This one's just a trail tool, so it's a little bit different, but it has a 0 to 10 newton meters torque wrench just in this ratchet here. So you will need a tool. How often you'll use it depends on how many big jobs you do, so tailor the tools for your jobs. Okay, I feel I'll get some heat in the comments, but you know what? I've been a race mechanic at World Cups, and that's a fairly select crew, and I feel like I've got the authenticity and the knowledge to say this, and that's buy good tools. Don't buy cheap tools, they're just not worth it. Good tools last longer, they're made from better materials, they also often have better support as well, so if something breaks or something doesn't quite work the way it should do, the brand's there for you because they want to invest in good tools and people using them. A good example would be the mini ratchet set that I bought in my first year when I was wrenching at World Cups. It is still super smooth and clicking away happily, so it's worth investing in good tools. Okay, we've got our essential tools set up. What else can go wrong on your bike? Well, stop and go stuff. And we're going to start with, well, a chain checker. It's not really for fixing things, but for spotting something that might go wrong early. Chain wear can destroy drivetrains really quickly, so it can destroy, well, your cassette and your chainring and obviously your chain. So replacing your chain and making sure that it doesn't elongate too quickly, it doesn't stretch too quickly, is a really good tool to have. You can get different ones for different chains to make sure you get the right one. And if we're replacing a chain, the next essential tool for our toolkit will be a chain tool. Yes, you'll have one on your multi-tool which you take with you on the trail, but having a dedicated workshop one is better. They're easier because there's more leverage and they work with lots of different chains, so that would be next on my list. we've talked about a lot of sort of go things, but what about stopping things? What's the other annoying thing? I think an easy fix and an essential item to add to your toolkit, your growing toolkit, is a disc straightening tool or disc truing tool. Why? Because, well, the noise of a chinging rotor on a climb is infuriating, and it's a really easy fix. Some of the tools kind of look like this, so you'll have like one leverage there and a different leverage there, and they're designed just to straighten the steel rotor on your brake, and it makes a really big difference to your ride experience, and it's simple to do. More tools for the tool club. Okay, we're getting in lots of riding now. We've learned that we need to replace our chain more regularly, but we're still getting laps in. What else can go wrong, and what else can we fix easily? Well, depending on your drivetrain and how jazzy it is, it will probably have cables. It'll have an inner cable and an outer cable setup, and those systems can be really good and very easy to work on. And an essential tool for working on those is a trusty set of cable cutters. These will cut the outers and inners. They're really good, and they make that task really simple and almost pleasurable. So if you've got a cable-based drivetrain, get some cutters. Hardtail or full suspension, you're probably going to have to do some suspension setup. And a tool like this, a dedicated shock pump, is a really good tool. Almost essential, actually. Lots of forks do come with them, lots of bikes, if they come in complete, come with them too. But if you haven't got one, it's really important to get one, because setting sag is one of the key setup guides to setting up your suspension to perform at its best. Now, another tool that might not seem cycling specific, but is very useful just in general to measure lots of things, but also very useful in setting suspension, is the humble tape measure. Why, you might ask? Well, some suspension systems have sag measurement listed on the side of either the fork leg or on the shock shaft itself, which is great to help set up that little O-ring to set how much sag there is. But lots of other brands and other systems don't have that, so you'll need the tape measure to work out how much sag you need. So yeah, tape measure, shock pump for better suspension. Bleed kits, essentially they come in two different flavours, and that's for DOT fluid and for mineral fluid. There's a lot of different brake systems out there, and even if you have a SRAM brake, you might need a subtly different bleed kit to the one you've already got. So you're going to have to do a bit of homework, you're going to have to do some research and find out the exact kit. To be fair though, these park ones, if you've got a mineral one or a bleed kit, they do come with lots of fitments for pretty much all the main brands, but you will have to do a bit of research. You'll also have to get a hose cutter, because cable cutters just don't, well, cut it. And the last thing that you need to remember to buy is lots of PPE, so protective wear. With mineral and with DOT, it's not the most fun stuff to have on your hands, so be careful. We've created quite the growing collection of tools. Now, where to store them? We can go retro in a box like this, or we can go new school in a case like this. Either way, storing your tools in a nice, dry, organised way is a great way of keeping them lasting as long as possible, which for some tools can be 10 years or so. Well, depending on if standards change, but that's a whole other debate and a good excuse to buy, yes, more tools. Hopefully you've now got a really good understanding of what you need in your home workshop, and hopefully you've found that, well, like me, you can never have enough tools. If we've missed your favourite tool from your home workshop, let us know in the comments below.